Hello, everybody. This is Charlene Burke with Grow Because You Know. That's www.growbecauseyouKnow.com. Welcome to Morning Mindset Cafe. We are talking about positive mental attitude, how to motivate yourself, because we believe you can. And we are going by what's written in the book for discussion purposes as a way to lead us to success, lead us to how to motivate ourselves. I want to hear from everybody what it is that you do to motivate yourself. Success Through a Positive Mental Attitude, Those Who Don't Know, written in 1960, W. Clement Stone and Napoleon Hill. This happens to be a 1969 edition of the book. There is a PDF you can download in the live stream. All right. Ken, it wouldn't be a PMA show if I didn't show that in the beginning of the book we learned about our inner talisman as represented by this piece of paper. We each have this inside of us. We have the choice to have a positive mental attitude or a negative mental attitude. And it's all in how we approach the day, the situation, people, places, things, problems. The negative is, I can't do it. It'll never happen. These things always happen to me. No one ever succeeded at doing something like this. I'm scared because it will never work. The positive mental attitude says, I'm scared. How do I move forward? Something new. How can I do it? New way to see things. How can I get better at it? What's the process? It's asking questions on how you can move forward and grow. All right, so how do we motivate ourselves? It begins with understanding that we have motives for everything that we do, right? And when we understand the motives, we can start identifying what we're motivated by. And examples that are here in the book. When it comes to learning how to motivate yourself for any reason, there's 10 basic motives, okay? There's the desire for self-preservation. I feel threatened, I'm out of here. You know, the emotion of love, the emotion of fear, the emotion of sex, the desire for life after death, the desire for freedom of body and mind, the emotion of anger, the emotion of hate, the desire for recognition and self-expression, and the desire for material gain. So I am one, honestly, I'm not motivated by money. Honestly. What that means is that if I am not, if I don't really care about the outcome of something, if I'm working on a project that doesn't mean a lot to me for some reason, that and I'll get into a second of what that can look like, it really doesn't matter how much you're paying me. I found that out when I had a really, really good paying job and I had the skill set. That wasn't the problem. I just really didn't care. And why didn't I care? Okay, so for me, a lot of my motivations for participating in projects, for feeling excited or wanting to show up every day has to do with recognition, you know, that other people are seeing, that I can contribute. Appreciation for contributions. This goes really a long way for me. When somebody says, and it's sincere, right? It's authentic. When somebody says, hey, Charlene, so glad you were on this project. This is what I saw you contribute. You know, your activity in this particular area was fantastic. Things like what seems simple, right? Showing up every weekday morning for Morning Mindset Cafe. I'm motivated to do this because you keep showing up. You know, and some of you thank me personally and privately for showing up because it has a positive effect on your day, and you want me to continue, so you encourage me. Hence, I show up. It was in the beginning all about me, and that was based in self-preservation. It was based on not that fear or flight, although that of course happens, but in knowing that I wanted more than what I had. I wanted to be more than what I was. I was in that survival mode. And so I was searching, and I'd searched for a lot of different ways and found this, and people showed up, and I got what I needed. So in the beginning, it was all about me, and that was my motive for showing up, was this is what's going to get me out of the funk that I'm in. And I want out bad enough, right? There's that negative, I guess you could look at it, what we call those negative emotions. And that was my motive. I was motivated. I don't want to be there anymore. It was an awful feeling. And that's changed. So my motivation for continuing to show up is different now. Just so you know. So it doesn't have to be the one single motivation that you have for doing what you do that's always the same for every time you do it. Just showed you one, right? So there's the emotion of fear. And that's I'm going to put that into the fight or flight, that emotion of fear. That's when I was saying it was self-preservation. It's not. Fear is where I feel threatened. And Ken's saying he thinks the successful motivation is identifying the reason you truly want to do something, not the reason you think it should be. Oh, yes. Be honest about what's driving you. I love that. Be honest about what's driving you. Why do you truly want to do it? If you can tap into the real reason why you're doing something, use it. That's your motivation. Okay. I don't see anywhere where it's right or wrong. It just is. And we're all motivated by something a little different at any given time, aren't we? I told you, in general, I'm not motivated by money. Now, initially, I will be. So what that means is that I will enter into a project because it looks like it will be profitable and lead me towards my end goal with my business, with revenue generating activity. But I stay because of other things. Just working through something just to get the dollar. I'm just telling you, it can be done, and it can keep me going, but it's a negative motivation. It's not something I want to tap into because it puts me in a desperate mode, and that's not a good place for me to be. I'd rather be in the hopeful mode. I'd rather be in the mode of being motivated for me by freedom, freedom of body and mind. That's really important to me. Hence the reasons why I'm motivated to do the work that I do when it's not quite, I might be having difficulty with a client or with a project, like in the moment kind of thing. And sometimes I remind myself, hey, the reason I'm doing this is because I love what I'm doing. It's just a bad moment at this time. And the real reason I'm doing it is that it's going to give me the freedom of movement that I'm looking for. Desire for recognition and self-expression. I've been tapping into that lately with a lot of projects that I've been working on. I didn't realize that I had a need for self-expression outside of my inner circle. And again, that recognition, I gotta tell you, it's kind of nice when people know my name. It is. So I tap into that a bit. And yeah, and Ken's saying he thinks motivations change. You should review your motives at regular intervals. Yeah, because if you don't, you'll come up short. What'll happen is you'll be shown that here you thought all along you're doing this out of fear, and no, you're not. You're doing it out of out of the need for self-expression. Well, it's fabulous because now you can tap into it and get even more motivated, right? Because you know what's truly happening with you. All right, so that's an overview of motivation, my thoughts on it, a few thoughts from Ken. Somebody jump in if you like. Let's talk about how you motivate yourself. I can share a few things if you're not feeling motivated, how you can do it, because you're not always going to feel like you really want to do something. And I'm going to throw this out here. One way is to go ahead and lead your emotions. Don't let your emotions lead you. Just because you don't want to doesn't mean you don't got it. Or as I've told some people who have tried to leap over all the steps to success, you can want what you want all you want. I'm not going to do you squat until you actually do something. Which means I can sit on the floor and I can kick my heels and say, but I don't want to. Still got to do it, right? So let's address the fear. Let's see here. Let fear take hold. These are notes from an upcoming blog post I intend to publish. Fear is one of the strongest motivators that we have. That fight or flight response really does depend on the feeling of fear as its source. So let fear work for you. If you're genuinely concerned about what's going to happen now that you've lost your job, you don't know where the money's going to come from to pay the rent, you're going to do whatever needs to be done. Issues that seem to be obstacles are going to fade in the background. How true is that? How true is that? Very. Stepping out from a job, my intention was that, I thought I was in control. I was going to leave the job that I didn't like anymore, but only after I had saved enough money to make it feasible to leave the job. Then I got fired. And then the recession hit. It was amazing, all the things that my company and business was able to provide when the recession hit. It was amazing how quickly I was able to have conversations and to sell my services. When before the recession, I was very, it wasn't going to happen. Making a sale just wasn't in my genetics, I would have told you. If I got to pay the rent, anything's possible. So fear of not being able to pay the rent, pay the mortgage. All right. So another way to keep motivated is, or to get motivated, let's say you're in the moment and you're just not feeling it, right? Keep the finish line in sight. So we have the big picture, and sometimes that's overwhelming. Sometimes the big picture is overwhelming because we forget, by solely focusing on the finish line, we forgot to recognize that we actually have progress and we don't feel that progress. But sometimes it's really a good idea to get out of the minutia of the day-to-day and look at what the big picture is. That's when I look at, I have an image on my monitor of the view that will be from the window of the RV. It's a view of a freshwater lake. It's got a little picnic table in it. Instead of a beach, because I'm not big on beaches, it's got a rocky bank and wonderful just grassy area and lots of woods, So I look at that, and that's the big picture. That's why I'm doing what I'm doing. That's the end goal, is to be able to do what I'm doing right now and have that as my view instead of when I look out the window here. And it's important to look at that occasionally. Because if you don't, you're going to get focused on the day-to-day and you're going to wonder why it is you're doing what you're doing. So that's the payoff, right? That's what got you excited in the first place. Just tap into that. And that's what I've done with that image that's on my monitor. So I can tap into that. And sometimes I can get quiet and get back to that day when I felt so excited that I had that final goal in mind and I could clearly state it. I recognized and stated out loud exactly what it was that I wanted, why I wanted to be doing what I was doing. So you can let the fear take hold, meaning make use of the fear. Let's see, another way to do it is get that finish line in sight. Stop focusing on the day-to-day work and feeling like, this is drudgery. Really don't want to do this. It's boring. This is, for me, it has to do with organizing my books for the bookkeeper. Well, it's worth it to do because that's going to get us closer to that finish line. Another way to do this, okay, is you can make it a game. We talked about this yesterday. Somebody brought it up. Can we make it a game? Yes, we can make it a game. Why not? Why not? Find ways to measure yourself, okay, and then go into competition with yourself. And when you beat your last record, whatever that was, all right, so for me, it'll be, I'm not a runner. So when I'm trying to beat myself, it is not the best time to get from point A to point B. What mine will be is the best time to complete a final draft of an article or to make something better. I'll often do competition with myself to take something I've written and it's good. And when I read it, it's like, wow, I wrote that. Dang, that's good. Bet you I can make it better. And then I'll reward myself. Sometimes I'll reward myself. That's not a big one on my list, but I know it is on other people's, is to, when you're able to best yourself, then reward. Now, sometimes this one really works for me. I do work in literals and I do work in extremes sometimes. There's the Hernan Cortez landed in Mexico in 1519, and he's known for really motivating his men to move forward, to not think of defeat, do not think of retreat. And when things were going bad, you had an alternative, that plan B. And what he did was he made them burn the boats, knock down the bridge. There's no other option. Remove that option of going backwards, of going back to, right? Remove it. And you don't have any choice now. You have to succeed. So that's another way to motivate. One that seems to work really well for a lot of people is tell someone else. This doesn't work for me. It's very strange. For me to, because I didn't articulate what my end goal was to a whole lot of people, quite honestly, for quite a few years. And it's interesting because if you tell somebody else, this is the thinking. All right, so if you have a goal you want to reach, don't keep it to yourself. This does work for some people. Be sure to share it with people you respect. Once you've publicly acknowledged it, it becomes harder to give it up because you've made a verbal contract with people whose opinion you care about. If you were to give up on your dream, you'd lose face with them. Most people don't want this to happen. They don't like the idea of losing face, but because they're scared of failure, they keep their dream to themselves. Now, however, if you do want to succeed, you'll tell as many people as you can. And I look at it just a little bit differently. What I'm more inclined to do is I'm going to tell you what I'm working towards. And if it resonates with you, you're going to join me. You're going to join me in a project. You're going to be attracted to what I'm doing. and what my end goal is, and maybe you have it for yourself so that we can collaborate on things or do a joint venture or refer each other. So it's not that I need to tell you so that I will accomplish the goal. It's different for me in that sense. It's not a motivator for me. It is more of a, the reason I tell you is because if you're interested in what I'm doing, hey, come along, right? Now, definitely something I found this to be true for me when it comes to personal motivation is to tell myself daily. So I have my major definite purpose written out for my business, and I read it every morning and every night. There's my daily. I have my image on my monitor of the view that's going to come out of the RV. And I review what the end goal is for the business, the revenue goal for the month and for the week. So what I've written is to tell yourself daily, write down a sentence or two that specifically details what it is you're going to achieve, and then make it specific, keep it short so it's memorable. And that way, when you go to bed and first thing in the morning, at various points during the day, you read it aloud to yourself. Hence what I've got up on the wall that I read in the morning and in the evening. All right, so this is what's helping me and what I've seen that has helped other people. Mastermind group. And it's more for me, instead of just stating what the goal is as a member of a group, it's more than just stating the goal, because when they've participated in helping me to define the steps I'm going to take to reach it, to help me brainstorm actually what the end goal is, because sometimes a mastermind group will do that. Now I feel like they've been a part of the creation. And so I want to finish it. Again, there is accountability there, and it's accountability to fellow team members is what it is for me. Facilitating mastermind groups, holy cow. All right, so for me, sitting in a group of people who are successful at achieving things, I don't care what the achievements are. I mean, had a mastermind group where one guy, his sole goal, his final one ultimate goal was to bench press 300 pounds. Then there was somebody else whose sole goal was to finish writing a 5-email series autoresponder. Same group. And it doesn't matter what the end goal was. What I find so wonderful about facilitating mastermind groups is watching them struggle with what needs to be done in order to achieve what they've set out to achieve. Watching them work together and encourage each other and support each other and provide their resources, their networks, ideas, their expertise, to watch the ideas start and then start to grow and pinging off of each other. And then having them come back with their updates. You know, the ones that get it done, the ones that are so excited they can't wait to come back to the group because they finished something. Oh, it's a big charge for me. I get very motivated watching other people succeed. You know, it's a reminder, yeah, I can do this. You know, I'll be working on another project or working with a client and remember that tomorrow is a mastermind group meeting. And so afterwards, I will remember what had happened in the mastermind group and take that with me. And that's part of the motivation that I take, which is watching somebody else succeed. And as a group, it's pretty powerful. And in that group setting, so one of the mastermind groups that I facilitate is we take that really big goal that we don't really focus on the finish line completely because it's really, really big. And if today's the day where it's just too big, I'm not getting any motivation out of it because it's too Let's chunk it down. Let's break it up. If it's so big that it scares you, break it down. Because if it's that big that it scares you, in my mind, and this is how I work, I'm not going to do anything to do with getting there if it scares me. I work in, hey, this is realistic and practical. Let's break it down into actionable steps over the next week, over the next month. What does that look like? I can do that. I'm not overwhelmed by it and I'm not frightened by it, but instead I'm like, oh yeah, I can do that. So motivated by that sense of accomplishment, because now I've gotten something written down and I worked towards it and I achieved it. So that personal sense of victory, that can motivate me. All right, so those are my ideas. Somebody jump in and talk to me. We got some good stuff happening on the side. We're motivated by desire. Yes, we are. Fear isn't a good place to make decisions from. I wholeheartedly agree, but it is a good place sometimes to actually move forward on decisions previously made. I mean, if that's what it takes to light a fire under my butt, okay. Well, so for instance I made the decision that I was going to be in business for myself. The plan was to be in control of how that happened. You know, that was the plan. Well, that was my plan. That went awry when other people got involved and I got fired before I was able to leave the job on my terms. So fear set in when the money was starting to run out because recession hits and clients are gone, money's running out. All right. But I'd already made the decision of what needed to be done. I already had things in place of processes and everything was in place. So the fear was a motivator to get into action, not to make the decision. I have no problem with that. But I do support that fear isn't a good place to make decisions. But neither is the opposite a good place. I know decisions are emotion-based, and I can tell you that in most cases, when I feel strongly about something and it's time to make a decision, I step back. I try to give myself 24 hours to decide whether or not I'm going to do something. And that way I'm more confident in my approach on how I made that decision and why I made that decision. Yeah, Betsy, good one. Impulse isn't good. The gut is always right. Yeah, impulse. There's an element of truth in my gut feelings. And generally speaking, I follow them. And what I mean by that is give me some time and get the impulse out and take a look at what was behind the impulse, right? What my gut's telling me, and then make a decision based on that. So, anybody want to jump in and talk about how you can motivate yourself? Then we have Ken. If you can't get motivated, sometimes sheer dumb blind habit works for keeping going through the bad days. Habits and routines can be powerful. Absolutely. Absolutely. Rituals, routines. What is it I do every morning? What is it I do in the afternoon? What is it I do at the evening? Because that's action. That's the key. I keep doing what I committed to doing. Then I'm able to then I'm able to not be controlled by the feelings. Just keep doing the actions. Okay. I'm tapped. Today is going to be slightly shortened. I have to close the room at about 10 minutes before the hour because I have a professional networking event that I host on Wednesdays at 9 a.m. Eastern Time. I'll post the link in just a little bit and invite you all to join me there. Back to the book. Did you guys get your copy of the book? Now, the first thing I open this up to, Ken, is it says emotions are controlled through the combination of reason and action. When fears are unwarranted or harmful, they can and should be neutralized. While your emotions are not always immediately subject to reason, they are subject to action. You can use reason to determine the needlessness of the negative emotion and thus motivate yourself to action. You can substitute fear with a positive feeling. You can do all of that through self-suggestion, auto-suggestion, and what have you. You can also just rely on the activity of consistent action. I've already set in motion the habits for success. Do them. Doesn't matter what I think, feel, and believe at the time, because right now, this is what works. Well, just do. Running on emotion leads to negative mental attitude. Absolutely, it does. Yes. We are a combination of thoughts and feelings. And if we don't recognize that and go solely, if you go solely by those emotions, you lose out on a heck of a lot. Ken, love the sound of that mastermind group you referred to. You'll have to stop using the small ads column. You're going to have to explain yourself. The mastermind group that is currently in session is pretty darn cool. Got another one happening. It starts May. When does it start? May the 12th. May the 12th. The bench presses. Yeah. Yeah. The Get It Done group, it's a 90-day commitment. And really, it's not business focused. It really isn't, although it tends to be, meaning because it's for solo business owners. But what's really nice is that because everybody knows that we're coming together so that you can achieve something as an individual, we're going to help you achieve it. Whatever that looks like to you, that's not the point. The point is you're going to rely on a group to help you stay focused and get it done. So the motivation for many of those members is that they're struck by and inspired by the ideas that are put forth by the group members. Now, there happens that there'll be a member that gets all kinds of wonderful guidance and doesn't put it to use. They decided on their own to go a different route. But that doesn't negate the fabulous conversation, discussion, and ideas that came out of the other members, not by a long shot. Because what happens is the other members get motivated by what was talked about. It's really cool. Love mastermind groups. Alrighty then. Hi, Lottie. Hey, good to see you again. It's been a while. We're talking about how to motivate yourself. What do you do to motivate yourself? So I reviewed 8 things, that you can put to use. A few that I put myself and a few that I watch others that seems to work for them. What do you do when you are faced with something that you just don't want to do? It's one of those tasks. I referred to one of the things I don't like to do is bookkeeping. Now, one thing that will motivate me on the bookkeeping is fear of the IRS. Yes, fear. And it's because I've dealt with them before. And while they can be dealt with, it is not fun by any stretch of the imagination. So I do it because I don't want to deal with the consequences of not doing it. Lottie's saying motivating self can be tough. Yes. come on Blab to do so. That's an excellent point. Coming on Blab. You know, listening to a discussion of people who are succeeding at something or exploring new ideas or learning something new, and saying, yeah, I'm watching others struggle and succeed, watching others not struggle and succeed. You know, that can be motivating. A reminder that, yeah, I can do it. I can do that too. Bookkeeping, yes, big UG. Our motivation is Irish government tax refunds. Oh, you get refunds? Make us all pay up front, then we have to claim it back. Very boring. Yeah, we pay as you go. That's the way ours is set up. And you make a profit in business, pretty much you're going to write a check. Been writing checks for a while. And even though you're paying along the way. So, yeah, I've never said that, Betsy. Can't wait to write a check. I've not said that. We used to write checks because we didn't live beyond our means. And we didn't have children. I've been writing checks to the IRS, both state and federal, for 20 some odd years. Yeah. Now, occasionally we do get a refund when we've had losses. So it's not every single year. But hey, listen, I don't get wigged out and angry about it anymore. I used to. Couldn't even speak it the way I'm doing it right now. You know, it's just part of the, no reason to wig out. Not today. Not today. All right, so at the top of the hour, if you are a professional interested in meeting other professionals, interested in learning about the power of many, how to surround yourself with the right people for your business, I'll open up that room, which is the private meeting room, in about 10 minutes. And we'll all learn something. But in the meantime, how do we motivate ourselves? Anybody, what do you guys do? What do you do to motivate yourself? Coffee and exercise, okay? Cold showers are good. Okay. Meditation and yoga. Interesting. What else do we do? What else do we do to motivate? Find the fun. I like that, Lottie. Find the fun. Okay. Love the F word. Fun is good. Fun and fabulous. Make it a game. Right? That was one of the things, I think you missed it, Lottie, one of the 8 things that I listed about how you can motivate yourself. Make it a game. You know? Can you outdo yourself? Compete with yourself and then reward with something. New presentation called The Fun Factor. That should be awesome, Betsy. Look forward to seeing that. How else do you motivate yourself? Either jump in the seat or share in the chat. How do you motivate yourself? Think about that. What are you tapping into? What inner resource are you tapping into to get motivated to get something done or to get something started or to finish something? Ooh, what if you're close to the finish line and you're just running out of steam? Really? Just running out of fuel. What are other ways to motivate yourself? Or how do you? So the higher purpose and the need for a life with no regrets. Okay, tap into the higher purpose, and the motivation for you is to have a life with no regrets. Nice. Anybody else want to share how you motivate yourself? Does it work for anybody to tell somebody else, to say it out loud to somebody else and be accountable to them? Does that work for anybody here? Does that work for you? Yeah, Ken's saying yes, he thinks it does. So do you do it on purpose? I know a fella, I know a fella years ago. We who were connected to him on Facebook were very annoyed. And we told him that because every single update he had was a picture of himself. And we finally asked him, what in the world are you doing? He says, well, I told everybody that I was on a mission to lose 30 pounds. And by my posting this selfie of me running or on a run or the things that I see out here, I'm holding myself accountable to you. Now we're in a face-to-face situation. In all honesty, we had the couple of us that were there kind of looked at each other and said, that's not what we got, because we had no idea you wanted to lose 30 pounds. But it worked for him. And Lottie has a client. Yay, love that you have a client walking in the door to train for speaking event. We're going, oh, you're doing a speaking event. Fabulous. Have a super great Wednesday. Yes. Saying out loud, culpability. Awesome. You have a fantastic training session with your client. And hey, much success to you on that speaking event. And so, Betsy, you're going to go eat. Okay. And you're going to join us for the professional networking meeting? Good. Be good to see you. Yeah. Bye, Lottie. It's good to see you, dear. And she's doing what's called 1010 talks. We're going to have to check that one out, eh? What's a 1010 talk? Somebody check that out and let me know what you find out about that, okay? Cindy, hey, so good to see you. We're talking about how do you motivate yourself. Orna, thanks for hanging in there. I didn't see you come in earlier. Welcome. So I've got a few more minutes talking about personal motivation. What do you do to motivate yourself? Some great ideas out there. Anybody use videos? I don't know. Do you go to YouTube and check out a motivational talk or listen to I pick one. My goodness, you have Tony Robbins and TED. See, I personally like TED Talks. I like that 18 minutes of something interesting. There's a great one about introverts. That's motivating for me because it's validating, right? It's, this is who you are and how you work. And okay, and then I'm motivated to keep moving because I got validation. So recognition comes into play there. Sometimes you use music. So I'm going to go along with the music side for me. When I need to be energized or I need to calm down, I use music to get me where I need to go emotionally or energy level. I definitely will use music. Motivation to get something done. I've not intentionally used music, to be honest about it. I've intentionally used it because I need to get myself feeling a particular way. So one of the pieces of music that I will listen to before a presentation, when I'm feeling insecure and I don't really have the confidence to move forward with a presentation. It might be a webinar, might be a live workshop, might be going on stage. I've been known to go out to my car to do this. Aerosmith, I'm back in the saddle again. That will pump me up. That will give me the What it does is it gets me out of thinking, right? It gets me out of that cycle of thinking that I'm not quite good enough, or that I might flop, or that I wonder if I'm lacking in confidence. And instead, what it does is it gives me a feeling of fullness, and I am here, and this is what I am here to do. And I can feel myself getting confident and strong, and that helps to change the thinking. So in a sense, that's motivation, isn't it? Yeah. Yeah, in a sense. All right, so once again, I invite you, let's see here. Shortly, I will be closing down the Morning Mindset program and moving over to Network Live Virtually. I host a weekly professional networking meeting. And today we have Joanna Peters from the UK. Ken doesn't know her yet, but surely they'll run into each other because, they're in the same country. And she's going to be talking about the power of money, how to surround yourself with the right people for your business, which actually is a pretty darn good topic, right? Not just for motivation, but for success. If you're surrounded by the right people that are on either the same road you are or can help you along your road in some capacity, you're going to succeed. They are the movers. They are the ones that keep me going forward. That's why I love the mastermind groups. We're all about coming together with the sole focus of helping each other to succeed. The ones I'm a member of, that's my focus as a member. And when the time is for me to get what I need from the group, it is for me to get what I need to succeed. As a facilitator, watching it in action and helping people to stay focused and get what they need is that's powerful. That's powerful, especially when you compare it to the opposite. If you're surrounded by people that are anchors, you pretty much know what that's like, don't you? Have somebody who is going to suck the energy out of you, somebody who is going to constantly berate what you're doing. You got to have that balance. I mean, you have those people, but if you're surrounded by people who are problem solvers and not problem makers, it's amazing the things you can get done. And Ken, most motivation falls in the reward, fear, carrot, stick category. What motivates will vary from person to person, time to time. Be sensitive to what works best for you at any given moment. I love that, Ken. Yes. That's why I was asking for everybody here to share. What is it you do to motivate yourself? And it's not the one and only thing. I know that. I'm assuming that whatever you put out there is what happens to be working at the moment. We've talked and covered a lot of different ways to motivate yourself and reasons you get motivated. Tapping into those reasons. Are you afraid? What are you afraid of losing? Are you afraid of winning? Who cares? Do it anyway, right? Use that fear to get you moving and get you doing, get you into action. Is it because that you are that carrot and stick, right? That you really want that payoff? That, I need that $10,000. I really, really want that $10,000. And so I'm working to make sure that I get that. Whatever the money's used for, that you've decided that that's worth whatever it is that you're doing right now. By gosh, if I do this, I'm going to get that. And that's why I'm working towards this. And what you're getting, for me, sometimes it's recognition, not self-recognition. It's recognition. It's acknowledgement by others of my accomplishments. It's pats on the back. It's appreciation. There are a lot of things that motivate us. It's the tapping into it and what's working for you at the moment. So again, I invite you all to join us in the meeting room. I'm going to close out the recording I want to thank everybody for your comments. It's been very helpful in today's morning mindset program about how to motivate yourself. Thank you to those who've been watching, and thank you to those who are watching the replay. Greatly appreciate that you're here. This is Charlene Burke with Grow Because You Know. That's www.growbecauseyouknow.com. Let's move forward with the day on purpose, with purpose, to grow our hearts, grow our minds, grow our businesses. Until next time, have a great day.